that leads on to mistake number 3, Ben. You buy without a long-term plan or a strategy. Now, anyone who's a coucher, who's a devotee to this podcast, will not be surprised by us bringing up that mistake. But it has to be brought up. It has to be brought up because it plays into the fact that why did you choose to buy a property worth 300 when you could have bought 500? Or why did you choose to buy one worth 500 when you could have got 650? It's around, well, that's what I felt at the time, or that's what I was comfortable around. But without having an eye on the horizon, an eye on the end game, you might have been able to comfortably buy something worth an extra 150, which means you would have got a better quality asset, which means you would have got a better return, which would have minimized the amount of time that you're in this game. And also the extra 150, if you worked out how much that would actually cost you, it was actually really manageable in the first place. But if you're buying in isolation, in silos, in how you're feeling with your own confidence level at the time, without really understanding the bigger picture, it kind of makes sense that people get themselves into all sorts of trouble, or be like a yacht without a rudder, where they can just get blown where the latest breeze goes. So mistake number 3, Ben, you buy without a long-term plan or strategy.
Yeah, I mean, to flip that on its head, traditionally we would say to people in a steady market that, cash flow will determine and borrowing power will determine and future plans will determine what's an appropriate asset purchase price for you. What we see in FOMO scenarios is those people stretch themselves too far, and that absolutely impacts them in terms of the changes in their cash flow position. And so when the tide goes back out, those people struggle from a cash flow point of view. So it works both ways. It works both ways in terms of planning around maximizing a level with a tolerance, and a safety net in place, versus those people who don't plan price also overshoot it. And then they get themselves into a position where cash flow is super tight, and then they have to sell the property in 2 or 3 years' time. It may have gone up in value over this current market cycle, but they've given all of that up in stamp duty and selling costs and then capital gains, and effectively they come out with bugger all. So I think it's just an important point again around, yes, it feels like I need to move because the market's moving, but just do the prep, do the preparation. Understand that, this is a potentially 20, 30, 40-year journey. Even if you're in your late 40s, early 50s, you're still going to be living for 30 or 40 years, right? So from that point of view, the income story is a little bit different, and the strategy might be different in terms of you might be a little bit more conservative, but time is your friend and your enemy, depending on how you plan. Quality, Bryce mentioned before, is your enemy in terms of, the rush that's going on. And so is supply in regards to buying new off plan and those types of things. So again, it's about combining all of these things to make sure you understand that there are risks in what you're doing. So planning mitigates a lot of that risk.
We are staunchly ambassadors for creating a plan, for creating a blueprint, getting an understanding of what you want to do, because property investment is not an isolated decision, folks. It is something that needs to be side by side with all the other major decisions in your life. Schools send to renovate houses, holidays you want to go on, major events, all of that planning needs to happen alongside an investment property. And you need to be able to quickly see your life from 30,000 feet. The quicker you can see your life from 30,000 feet, the quicker you will lose anxiety, the quicker you will find internal peace, the quicker you'll probably stay on track and on path on where you need to go. And you won't make rash decisions at 30,000 feet.